Okay, great. So, everybody, welcome to the digital talk show with Arwa. And we have a very amazing guest, which is Zainab Quresh. And she is a brand designer and she is a freelancer as well, just like me. So, Zainab, welcome to the show. And
Hi,
tell us something about your journey into freelancing.
hi, Arwa. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I started freelancing 2 years back, and it started during the pandemic when I decided to quit my job. Um, I used to work as a graphic designer and a digital strategist at an advertising and digital agency, and uh, it just sort of didn't work out. I felt burnt out, and I eventually wanted to do something on my own.
Hmm.
And I really am passionate about branding. And so I decided to focus down and niche down from being a graphic designer to a brand designer. And currently, I help women entrepreneurs and service providers in helping them get seen and perceived by their ideal audience as an expert and an industry leader through powerful and personality driven branding. And I love working with the energy that women bring in, and I'm automatically um, gravitated towards working with more passionate women, and that's why I do what I do.
So when I came to your Instagram feed, I found it really eye-catching. That's why I was like, I need to follow this person immediately. So where have you learned all these brand designing skills and like what courses have helped you?
Okay, so I have a degree in visual communication. So I would say it started off with learning the basics of Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, a bit of Dreamweaver, like website designing and stuff like that. It was the basic knowledge that you would want to have with the tools. But I think the actual learning started when I started watching The Future on
Hmm.
YouTube.
Yeah,
And I still look up to Chris, and whatever I know, I think in terms of business and branding and entrepreneurship, it's because of him.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
In college, usually like it's about getting those grades and
Getting the job.
getting those. No, in fact, it's not about getting that job. It's they focus on getting the grades mostly.
Exactly. Yeah,
I
right.
wish I wish it was about the practical stuff as well.
Hmm, hmm,
But
hmm.
luckily, I was fortunate enough to have two internships in between my college years that helped me understand that I want to be doing this. Right, the
Hmm, hmm,
energy
hmm.
in an advertising agency that I experienced was so chill. Like you didn't
Hmm,
have
hmm.
to be quote unquote professional to fit in, right? You could stand out and still bring in those ideas and those crazy funk that you have as a person in onto the table, and people will be okay with it. And that's
Hmm,
something that I
hmm,
love
hmm.
because it celebrated who you are,
Hmm, hmm,
right?
hmm. Right.
And that's something that I wanted to. Like I looked up to that kind of a setup and energy that I want to work in. And especially when it comes to a creative field, you
Hmm, hmm.
don't want to be put into a box and you
Box.
don't want to be
Yeah.
given this
Timeline.
like in this environment. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately that's something that we work around,
Work.
but that's the best thing, right? So with freelancing you can determine how much time this much work would take you, and not your superior, your boss or your seniors or whoever.
Hmm, hmm.
You take your own decisions and not your colleagues, uh, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of courses, I think I have learned mostly by reading books. A lot of
Hmm.
a lot of books. I wasn't a reader before I started freelancing, but now I'm just like
Same here.
these
Same
amazing,
here.
exactly right. Like these amazing like people and
Yeah.
geniuses are writing all of the stuff that they've learned into
Yeah.
these books. It's just gold, and you can read it whenever you want. But I have so many courses from Domestica that I need to get back on, but I'm not been able to do that. In terms of branding, I think I've taken a course by Sagi Havid um, on logo design, and that's something that did help. I honestly just follow the future religiously. Have been doing that and still do with whatever
Actually,
stuff that they.
the channel itself, it's like a school for design and
Exactly.
getting clients and how to deal with objections. Even I've been binge watching that channel. Once you start a video, it's like never ending to continue watching the playlist completely.
Just listening to Christo speak, that's it. If,
Exactly. And actually,
that's
even I am
enough.
an introvert, so he also talks from an introvert perspective. So it's very good to hear like what the experiences that he has been through, and like he's teaching it in a form of video lessons.
Exactly. They call it the Future Academy, and we know exactly why, because it is like a not a school where they're giving you these things that you don't really want to talk about or don't really want
Yeah,
to do these assignments or whatever, but it's so interesting. Like they make it interesting and fun,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's something that I love. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the next question that I want to talk about is one thing that you love about freelancing and one thing that you hate about freelancing.
Okay. Definitely, one thing is that I feel like as a freelancer, you have control over what you do, how you do, and when you want to do, right?
Hmm.
Your work and who you want to collaborate with or work with, right? As opposed to when you're working, you don't really have a say.
Hmm.
They give you a project, they give you a client account, and you just have to work with those people. You don't really know where to go when you're not getting that kind of energy, right? And I'm a very
Hmm.
energy driven person. And yeah, that's something that I really love, that you get to control who you want to work with and how you do it. And okay, hate is a very strong word, but luckily I don't hate anything as of now.
Maybe we can say dislike.
Yeah. I would say just getting into that routine, like finding that routine and your creative zone, because design can be lonely.
Yeah.
I like working with people and with their energies where I can just show what I'm doing to them, and then they give me their 2 cents, and they tell me, how this can be made better, or what they like, what they don't like. I just love learning while I'm creating, and that's something that is very difficult at this point of time because I'm working alone.
Hmm.
So I would love to work with people and get in that energy, which I loved doing when I was working back then.
So talking about like loneliness, I know like even I have been a freelancer since 2 years, so I know it gets very lonely. So have you considered working in any co-working spaces or something like that?
I would love that, but I don't know where to go, honestly. That's why I'm on Instagram most of my time.
Hmm.
Because I love connecting with people all over the world
Hmm.
and getting to learn about their working styles, their culture, them as people, and how they run their businesses. That's
Hmm.
something that I love. So definitely, yeah, community is needed, but with COVID and all of that, I think it has become more digital, which is very helpful for people like us who work from home. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about time, how do you manage your time as a freelancer?
Okay. I would say I kind of have a routine or kind of have an idea how my day would look like. Um, and I would sort of write these things down or make a to-do list
Hmm.
before I sleep, the day before, like in the night. I sit down, I say, okay, tomorrow I have these meetings, tomorrow I need to finish this presentation or this branding project or design guide or whatever. Like I write all of these things down, and
Hmm.
so that I know that I know what I'm going to work on, and I can plan my day accordingly.
Hmm.
So that way I honestly get some time to like watch Netflix and make a snack for myself, spend time
Yeah,
with my family, with my mom, and not like rush things. So it in that way, I think it's a good way that I prepare myself for the next day.
hmm.
That these are the things that I want to do, and I can sort of take my time to do these projects
That's
and whatever
awesome.
work apart from that. Yeah,
That's awesome. And I feel like mentioning your tasks at night will be easier because then next day you will be knowing what you have to do and how you can plan your
yeah,
day.
yeah,
So
yeah. You get a
talking,
clear idea as well. Yeah.
yeah. So you talked about Instagram. So you spend most of your time on Instagram. What do you think about like marketplaces where you can search clients as well, like Upwork and Fiverr and stuff?
Okay.
I
See,
know they are
Instagram.
crowded, but people still go
Mhm.
there to search for a client. So what is your take
Correct.
on that?
Correct. Instagram has always been my primary lead generation source, and I think it's a more casual platform to just start conversations and start talking about pain points and frustrations and just showing your personality more than your work. Beyond what you do.
Hmm.
I have honestly not used Upwork or Fiverr ever.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I have downloaded Upwork once because one of my clients suggested that you should go to this place. I didn't even know there was something called Upwork,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
he suggested that you should hop onto this thing, and it's perfect for guys like you, and it will help you a lot to get more clients and stuff. I did download it and then go through it, but I didn't use it. I haven't used it, and I don't think I'm planning to use it
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
the future as well, because I just feel like having more conversations and having a relationship built before working with that person is at least more important for me.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why you will find me more on Instagram and say LinkedIn
I think
more.
genuinely just helping someone rather than, just going with the mindset of having a client or getting paid is
Mm,
much more important, I feel.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, why is brand design so important to you? And like, where do you get your inspiration from for design?
Oh, wow. Okay, I can go on and on about why brand design is important. Um, okay. It is not just about the visual aspect. Okay,
Hmm.
brand design is not about having something visually looking or having something that looks good. Um, it's more about the feeling behind a brand,
Hmm.
right? So I was just having a conversation about colors, right? And I'm someone who expresses through colors,
Hmm.
right? I have a colorful personality, and I love playing around different colors, and it just helps me express who I am better, right?
Hmm.
And it's so amazing and so incredible that red, if I say red and yellow, okay,
Hmm.
you might be thinking about McDonald's,
Yeah.
okay, but someone else would be thinking about, say, fire,
Yeah.
okay, right? You might be thinking about different things, but there's just a lot of interpretation that can happen, and there's so much of learning that goes with the whole branding space
Hmm.
that I feel it just makes your brand, it gives your brand a personality, gives your
Hmm.
business a personality.
Hmm.
And
Right.
that's something that I love, and the reason why I am into brand design is because I remember watching these videos where people gave this complex information, and
Hmm.
logo designers just converted that into this simple, easy to remember, this memorable design, this logo
Hmm.
design that can be transferred to different languages, different cultures. You don't need all of those differences. It can be open to interpretation, and that's so amazing. Like, it just
Yeah.
blows my
True.
mind.
True. True.
That the power of branding is it can go beyond just the visual aspect of it. And that's something that's the direction that we are going towards. And I love that because there's so much more than just how it looks.
Yeah. That's amazing. And the second part of the question was, where do you get your inspiration from for design?
Right. Okay. I get inspiration from, I think, the weirdest things. I don't get inspiration from other designers. Honestly, I feel like imposter syndrome, or I feel like this imposter is peeping when I see these amazing designers doing amazing work, and I feel like, oh my God, I'm not
Totally.
living up to, yeah. So I don't feel inspired looking at amazing branding or brand identities or whatever. I feel like I am inspired by things that are apart from what I do. Say, if I were to give you an example, I watched The Bold Type, um, and I was so inspired by these three women. And whenever I want to get that inspiration, I just uh, hop onto these episodes and watch these women work so hard, and it just helps me get that passion and that motivation. And yeah, Netflix is one of the things. So yeah, I think apart from that, it's nature. I like getting that time off from what I do. If you want to always be on, like, on social media or any other platform, you have to have some time off.
Yeah. True.
And
And also it gets too toxic after a point, like continuously seeing other people's profiles, and everybody posting their successes and not their pitfalls. So it's very difficult to, be in an online space continuously.
correct. I completely understand that. And I have felt that because I just took a break to get things sorted from my business side, and I was figuring it out, and I didn't want to be in that zone of creating and creating. I wanted to take a break and take a step back so that my business could work better, right? So yeah, taking these breaks does really help. And I know that people really connect that with, okay, you're not gonna get as much reach as before, or you lose your followers, or people forget what you're doing. But that's the power of branding, right?
Yeah. But people actually don't realize that even if even if you're not in the online space, you can still get clients and you can still get paid. The online space is just an push to, get the reach that you want, but it's not a compulsion that it's not a compulsion that you have to be on Instagram, on Facebook, or all other platforms. So yeah, that is something our generation needs to put more light on, but it's so messed up right now. Everybody wants to be on Instagram 24/7. And the worst part is that Instagram keeps changing its algorithm. So there are new things coming up every month. And then one influencer,
yeah, you can never understand this Instagram algorithm. Like, how much ever you break your head, that's something that you can't figure out. It's just, even if you're close to figuring it out, they'll change it. They'll change something, or they'll add new features or something. I just focus on what I know and do the best. That's my work, like, and things that I can control. But yeah, it's really frustrating after a point.
Yeah. So next question is, one piece of advice for someone just starting out as a brand designer.
Oh, okay. So if you're just starting out as a brand designer or in the branding phase, I would say that make it all about your target audience, make it all about them and less about you. And by that, I don't mean that shun your personality or don't show who you are or don't show your authentic self. What I mean is that always think about a problem that needs to be solved, and who is that person who wants that problem solved, right? And then think about, okay, how can I do it? Then you can also add your USP, like, how am I doing it differently? than my competitors or than other designers or other freelancers, right? So
Hmm.
always, I think when I was starting out, if anything got rejected or if I got criticism or harsh feedback, always took it on me. Like, okay, I
Yeah.
am doing something wrong. Okay. But it now I've realized with a lot of work that has gone into it, but now I've realized that it's about the work that I'm putting out, right? It's
Hmm.
not about me as a person. So when you're hitting send and sending something to your client, understand that it's your work and you need to be passionately detached from that, and they're not giving these comments or whatever about you, but it's something that you are working on. It's your work, and it's good that you're getting this kind of a feedback because then you can improve. And it
Yeah. Right.
at that point of time it's really hard to understand, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
yeah
It takes a lot of work on yourself to detach yourself from the outcome and not
yeah
take that harsh comments on yourself. It's very difficult, but I think you
and
learn
there's
it with experience and time.
correct. Yeah, and there's another thing that I wanted to add is that whatever you're creating, don't keep it close to your chest. Don't
Yeah.
keep it with you. It'll help you if you put it out there, you know.
Hmm, hmm,
And
hmm.
that can be Behance or that can be any portfolio or presentation or social media, anything what that would look like. Because then
Hmm, hmm,
that's a practice. You know, you're making conscious effort that you're
hmm,
putting something out there, and
hmm.
you're setting yourself free.
Yeah. So even I have struggled with like being like I won't post something unless it is perfect. So that has been a struggle
Yeah.
for me. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. You know what? I That's a mindset problem, right? When
Hmm,
I
hmm,
think about perfection, if if it's going on in my head, I won't be able to post
hmm,
anything
hmm,
at all. You will never be ready, or there will never be the right time for you to post something that you feel is quote unquote perfect.
yeah,
Okay, that's never going to happen.
true.
But I had made a post about it that it's better done than being perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
And
That's
it's
true.
practice makes progress and not
Hmm,
perfect.
hmm,
This
hmm,
is the
hmm.
thing that practice makes perfect because it's never going to happen. That's something that
You should have a t-shirt on that.
we learned. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, no practice makes progress.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Yeah, that's something that I've learned. I've read it somewhere, but I go by that.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's amazing. So what are your future plans as a freelancer?
wow. Okay. See, honestly, I'm not a kind of a person who thinks about where I would be like a year from now
Hmm,
or 5 years from now. But I like to set these goals, these small goals, and then these big goals, like yearly goals that I work towards achieving.
hmm, hmm.
Because it's very intimidating. Sometimes it gets so overwhelming with
True,
what you're doing, and plus when you're doing it all by yourself,
true, true.
you get that impact sometimes,
Hmm,
right?
hmm,
So my future plans, I would say that I'm definitely going to be posting a lot on Instagram in terms of creating content because that's something that I want to keep doing
hmm,
for
hmm.
my brand, for my business, for my um, community that have formed, however small or big that might look like, and also working towards my business. My future I see is that I would at some point would like to be an agency owner.
Hmm.
So moving from a freelancer to an agency owner would be an ideal situation where I can have my own design space, where I can have a team to work with. That's something that seems quite ideal from where I'm sitting right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we have come to the end of the podcast. So last question is, what services do you offer, and any freebie that you have for the audience?
Okay. So currently I offer two services.
Hmm.
The first one is your extensive brand identity system. where we start off with brand strategy, then there's logo design, there is your brand kit with your colors, brand fonts, and get extends it extends to your logo design, so your stationery design and your banners and everything else that you would like to add. And then the other service is focused on social media presence. It's around Instagram branding. So again, in this service, I start off with Instagram strategy, and then there's content strategy, and then we work towards creating the brand kit again. And it's solely towards achieving that social media presence that you want, because it's a digital era that we live in, and getting that extension of your business, and especially creating a personal brand where people get to know the person behind the work and the personality behind all of what that we're doing, it's really a plus. And finally, I'm always open for one-on-one conversations, chats about design, branding, or even content creation. So whoever wants to get on a conversation with me, uh, asking any questions about design or branding, or if they are having any frustrations or struggles at the moment, I love connecting with passionate women from all over the world.
That's
If I haven't made
awesome.
it clear, but
We should
yeah, that's
definitely
something.
meet in Mumbai. Yeah.
Yeah, inshallah. I think whenever I'm in Mumbai, I'll just ping you.
Yeah,
And
sure,
yeah,
sure.
I love that.
Definitely.
Love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So we have come to the end of the podcast, and thank you so much for being my guest. It's my second episode, and thank you so much again.
This was amazing. Thank you so much for giving me a platform to tell my story, to express myself. And I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. So thank you so much,
Thank you
Arwa.
so much. Just one second.